Princess Elpheme lived far away to the east, in a big, beautiful castle, with her strict mother and her sister, Hergne. Elpheme's mother tried her hardest to raise her as a princess, and had signed her up for an etiquette class since her sister was, well, not fit for royalty. She was picked on in school for aspiring to be a warrior, despite her size and stature. One day, Elpheme finally snapped. She broke out of the facility and ran away. She wandered aimlessly, without a destination in mind. Eventually, Elpheme found herself in front of a bamboo forest. She curiously ventured deep into the forest, where she found a chubby baby panda fast asleep. She sat with the panda and cautiously stroked it. To her surprise, the panda was receptive to her touch. Elpheme decided to name the panda Pudge, because he was round and fat. She tucked him into her dress and quietly snuck out of the forest. Elpheme brought her new friend home and decided to keep him. The two quickly became inseparable. Every day after school, she made her way back to the bamboo forest with Pudge to let him eat and spend time in his natural habitat. One day, Elpheme's meditation was disturbed by the sounds of battle cries and the clashing of weapons. She followed the sounds and stumbled upon a large wall. She peered over the edge and saw men training with glaives. Fascinated, she watched them for hours, and would return time after time to study their techniques. It began to grow dark outside, so the two headed home and were soon fast asleep. As time went on, her family remained oblivious to the furry little creature living amongst them. Between her mother ordering her around and her classmates picking on her in school, Elpheme was distressed. But with Pudge around, she had someone to play with, someone to talk to, and a shoulder to cry on if needed. As usual, Elpheme brought Pudge back to their favorite spot in the forest. This time, however, instead of meditating, she practiced the fighting move that she'd studied from the nearby mercenaries. It felt right, and she felt at peace. For once in her life, she was able to achieve Zen. The next day, Elpheme was going to take Pudge back to the forest, but he was fast asleep, so she went by herself to gather some bamboo for him to eat. As she was out gathering bamboo, her sister Hergne mistakenly wandered into Elpheme's room, presuming it was her own. Unfortunately, Pudge was still fast asleep and was not exactly in the best hiding place. Elpheme made her way home with the bamboo for Pudge. To her dismay, she walked in on a horrifying scene. Her heart sunk as she was overwhelmed with sadness at what stood before her. There stood her angry mother, her tattletale sister, and her best friend, caged like a prisoner. Her mother ordered that the beast be removed from the castle by sunrise, lest she take matters into her own hands. Elpheme reluctantly agreed to her mother's terms. She carried Pudge back to her bedroom and began to devise a plan. She waited in bed until the time was right. As dusk fell, she began to pack her belongings. Elpheme hurriedly climbed out of her bedroom window and ran off of the castle grounds as fast as she could. She ran until she eventually made her way to the docks, where she could take a ferry and finally leave this place for good. Out by the docks, she noticed a mercenary report. On it was an advertisement for the Crimson Blade mercenaries, where she could learn to fight and spend more time with her beloved Pudge. Delighted, Elpheme waited for the free ferry to return. When it arrived, she boarded the boat and sailed off towards a promising new life in Coalhead.